Emotional mastery, how to never get angry again. Have you ever had a perfectly peaceful day thrown completely off balance by someone else's careless words or thoughtless actions? Maybe it was a rude comment, an unexpected interruption, or even something as small as being cut off in traffic. One moment, you're calm. The next, you're spiraling, angry, tense, frustrated. It's frustrating, isn't it? How something so brief can hijack your entire mood. But here's a truth most people overlook. No one has the power to control your emotions unless you hand it to them. What if you could hold on to your calm no matter what life or people threw your way? What if your inner peace was unshakable, even in the face of chaos? Imagine waking up, going through your day, and even when things go wrong, you remain rooted, focused, and composed. Not because you're numb, but because you've trained your mind to respond with intention, not impulse. This isn't wishful thinking. This is emotional mastery. In this episode, we're diving into 10 transformative lessons to help you. Stop reacting impulsively. Let go of anger before it controls you. Regain full command over your emotional world. These lessons aren't about ignoring how you feel or pretending you're unaffected. They're about building mental strength, the kind of strength that allows you to respond to life with grace and clarity, even when it's hard. Whether you're dealing with unfair criticism, setting boundaries, or trying to let go of old grudges, you'll walk away from this episode with tools you can apply today. By the end, you'll have the mindset and the strategies you need to stay calm, clear, and unbothered in even the most difficult situations. So if you're ready to unlock the secret to emotional freedom and live a life where no one else can hijack your mood, let's begin. Your journey to mastering your emotions starts now. Understand that your reactions are your choice. Let's set the scene. You're in the middle of a peaceful day. Maybe you're sipping coffee, walking through the park, or just enjoying a quiet moment. And then it happens. Someone says something rude, inconsiderate, dismissive. That calm you were holding on to vanishes, replaced by irritation, defensiveness, or anger. You think to yourself, why did they ruin my day? But here's the deeper truth. They didn't. You did. Your emotions are yours, and so is your responsibility for them. No one has the power to dictate how you feel unless you voluntarily give them that power. Think of it this way. Life will always throw challenges at you. That part isn't optional, but how do you respond? That's entirely in your hands. Here's a visual to help. Imagine you're wearing noise-canceling headphones while walking through a loud, chaotic city. The noise doesn't go away, it's still there, but it no longer reaches you. It doesn't disrupt your focus. Mastering your reactions is the same. The chaos of other people's behavior doesn't disappear, but it doesn't need to shake your inner peace. Because when you understand that you control your reactions, you step into a place of power. And that's where emotional mastery begins. Embrace the space between stimulus and response. So, now that we've uncovered your power to choose how you respond, let's go one step deeper. There's a quote often attributed to Viktor Frankl that beautifully captures this next idea. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. When someone cuts you off in traffic or criticizes your work unfairly, it's easy, natural even, to get angry, to place the blame entirely on them. But what if, instead of reacting on impulse, you simply paused? Because in that pause, no matter how brief, your power, the power to choose calm over chaos, strength over impulsiveness. Let's bring this to life with a simple example. Imagine you're in a meeting. You share an idea you've thought through carefully, and your coworker immediately dismisses it. You feel that initial spike of frustration, the urge to snap back. But instead, you pause, you breathe, you ask yourself, is this really about me? Or is this about their own stress, insecurity, or bias? That moment of awareness gives you back control. It's not about suppressing what you feel, it's about remembering that your emotions are separate from your reactions. Anger, frustration, and disappointment are all natural, but they don't have to dictate your next move. Here's a simple 3-step strategy to help you build this mindset. 1. Pause and identify. When you feel triggered, stop and name the emotion: anger, hurt, irritation. This step alone disrupts the autopilot reaction. 2. Ask questions. Why am I feeling this way? Is it because of what happened or how I interpreted it? 3. Choose your response. Decide how to act based on your values and long-term peace, not the heat of the moment. Imagine walking through life unbothered by rudeness, careless remarks, or minor inconveniences. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if their behavior had no grip on your emotional state. Every moment, you have a choice. Let others dictate your emotions or take ownership of your reactions. So, the next time someone tries to push your buttons, pause, breathe. Remind yourself, their behavior doesn't define you. Your response does. And when you choose calm, you gain emotional mastery and true freedom. Stop expecting people to behave like you. Now that you've begun to see how much control you actually have over your reactions, it's time to confront one of the biggest causes of emotional frustration: unrealistic expectations of others. Have you ever found yourself thinking, I would never do that to someone? Maybe you reached out for help and were met with silence, or showed kindness and got indifference in return. The disappointment stings, and we tell ourselves, I would never treat them that way. Here's the hard truth. People don't operate by your standards. They operate on their own. Each person is walking their own path, shaped by their beliefs, experiences, and priorities. What feels like disrespect to you might feel normal to them. When someone annoys or hurts you, it often says more about where they are than about you. Trying to change or control others' behavior is like trying to control the weather. It only leads to frustration. So instead of fixating on how others should act, focus on how you can respond. Choose acceptance over expectation. Here's an example. Imagine you have a coworker who always interrupts you during meetings. Every time it happens, it chips away at your patience. You want to snap, maybe even shame them into stopping, but instead, take a breath. Realize, this habit is theirs, not mine. It's not personal. By letting go of the expectation that they'll change, you remove the emotional weight from the situation. You free yourself. There's a saying that captures this beautifully: expectations are the root of all suffering. The fewer expectations you place on others' behavior, the more peace you preserve. Try this simple reflection the next time someone disappoints you. 1. Acknowledge your assumptions. What was I expecting this person to do? 2. Challenge that expectation. Is it realistic to expect others to act exactly as I would? 3. Refocus on yourself. How can I respond in a way that keeps my peace intact? Think of the rude stranger, the forgetful friend, the inconsiderate coworker. None of them truly has power over your mood unless you give it to them. Accepting this doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior or abandoning your values. It simply means choosing peace over control, because your inner peace is too valuable to sacrifice trying to manage what's outside your control. Next time you're let down or irritated by someone, pause and remind yourself, they're acting from their nature, not mine, and that's okay. I still get to choose my response. And in that choice, you reclaim your freedom. Let go of the need to always be right. Once we stop expecting others to meet our standards, we open the door to deeper inner peace. But there's another habit that quietly robs us of calm: the need to always be right. Think about the last time you had an argument. Maybe it was over something small, like the fastest route to take, or something deeper, like a disagreement with a friend or partner. As the conversation escalated, did you feel the urge to prove your point, to make them see you were right? We've all been there, clinging to our perspective as if it defines who we are. But here's the hard truth: needing to be right all the time is exhausting, and more often than not, it does more harm than good. That urge usually stems from insecurity, as if being wrong means we're somehow less worthy. But what if you could let that need go? What if you could approach disagreements not with the intent to win, but with the intent to understand? Here's a powerful question to keep in mind. Would you rather be right or be at peace? Often, our insistence on being right only fuels tension, strains relationships, and creates lasting frustration. On the other hand, letting go of the need to prove yourself preserves your peace and your connection with others. Let's walk through an example. Imagine someone accuses you of something unfair. Your instinct is to jump in, defend yourself, argue your case, or point out their flaws. But instead, what if you paused? What if you asked yourself, is it worth my energy to prove them wrong? Will this argument change anything important in my life? Most of the time, the answer is no. Another scenario: a friend insists their way of handling a situation is better than yours. Rather than getting defensive, you simply say, I see where you're coming from, and I respect your perspective. Just like that, the tension softens and the conflict dissolves. The Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "He who is attached to his views will never grow." Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean abandoning your values or silencing your voice. It means recognizing that not every disagreement needs a resolution in your favor. It's about knowing when to speak and when to step back. Here's how to begin practicing this mindset. 1. Pause before responding. When you feel the urge to argue, take a breath. Ask yourself if it's really worth your energy. 2. Seek understanding. Instead of trying to win, ask questions to truly understand the other person's point of view. This often diffuses conflict. 3. Pick your battles. Save your energy for disagreements that truly matter, those that align with your values or affect meaningful outcomes. Over time, you'll discover that letting go of the need to always be right brings profound freedom. You'll feel lighter, calmer, and more in control. Arguments will lose their grip on your emotions because you've chosen peace over pride. Your value isn't tied to winning debates or proving how intelligent you are. It lies in how you carry yourself, how you protect your energy, and how you preserve your inner stillness. The next time you're tempted to prove a point, pause and remind yourself, being right won't make me happy, but being calm will. And in that moment, you'll step into the true strength of letting go. Stop letting others' words define your worth. Now that we've explored the freedom that comes from letting go of the need to be right, let's take it a step further. Learning not to let someone else's words shape how we see ourselves. Picture this. You're sharing something you're truly excited about, an idea, a passion, a story close to your heart. Then, out of nowhere, someone interrupts with a sarcastic remark or dismissive tone. That one moment, those few careless words, and suddenly your confidence fades. Why does that happen? It happens because we often give too much power to other people's opinions. We let their words define our value. But here's the truth. Your worth isn't determined by what someone else says. It isn't tied to praise or criticism. Your value isn't up for debate. When you rely on others for validation, you hand over control of your emotions. But emotional freedom begins the moment you take that power back. Let's consider a common example. Imagine a colleague criticizes your work not constructively, but in a way that feels sharp or personal. Your instinct might be to get defensive or feel discouraged. But what if instead you paused and reminded yourself, their words are a reflection of their mindset, not my value? That one shift in thinking can protect your peace and help you stay grounded. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Let that sink in. This lesson isn't about ignoring feedback. It's about knowing what to filter out. Constructive criticism can help you grow, but baseless negativity, it doesn't belong in your mental space. Here's a practical way to start guarding your worth. 1. Pause before reacting. When someone's words sting, take a breath. That pause gives you space to respond with clarity instead of emotion. 2. Separate fact from opinion. Ask yourself, is there truth in what they're saying, or is this just their perspective? Keep what helps you grow. Let the rest go. 3. Reaffirm your worth. Remind yourself that your value isn't based on approval. It's intrinsic. It exists with or without their validation. Lao Tzu put it simply, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Letting go of the need for validation doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop caring about opinions that don't serve your growth. So, the next time someone's words shake your confidence, pause and ask, am I letting this define me, or can I focus on what I know to be true about myself? That's how you reclaim your power. Because true strength doesn't lie in avoiding criticism, it lies in knowing your worth regardless of it. When you stop letting others' words define you, you create space for authenticity, confidence, and calm. And that kind of life, that's a life no one else can take from you. Protect your energy by setting boundaries. Once you've reclaimed your sense of worth, the next step is learning how to protect it, and that means setting boundaries. Picture this. A friend calls you in the middle of your busiest day, asking for help with something they could probably handle themselves. Or maybe a coworker drops a last-minute task on your plate, assuming you'll say yes. You feel the pressure to be helpful, but also the frustration of your schedule and energy being disrupted. Why is it so hard to say no? Because many of us were raised to believe that saying yes makes us kind, and saying no makes us selfish. But the truth is, protecting your peace requires boundaries. And boundaries aren't selfish, they're essential. Without them, you let others dictate your time, your energy, and ultimately, your well-being. Saying yes to everything and everyone often means saying no to yourself. Here's a reminder that hits home. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without refilling, burnout is inevitable. Boundaries are how you safeguard your emotional freedom while still maintaining healthy relationships. Think about it. When someone oversteps your limits, it's not always their fault. Sometimes, it's ours for not clearly defining and upholding those limits. People aren't mind readers. Unless you communicate what you're okay with, they may unintentionally push too far. Setting boundaries is a form of self-respect, and it also teaches others how to treat you. Here's an example. Let's say your friends always come to you for advice, even late at night. You want to be there for them, but it's draining. Instead of silently resenting them, you could say, "I care about you, but I need to keep evenings for myself to recharge. Let's talk tomorrow." That response is firm, yet kind. It protects your peace without damaging the relationship. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the ability to live as we wish." And living freely doesn't mean ignoring others' needs. It means deciding where your energy is best spent. Boundaries allow you to choose your priorities and ensure you're not giving more than you can handle. Here's how to start practicing this skill. 1. Be clear and honest. Communicate your limits calmly and directly. People are more likely to respect boundaries when they understand them. 2. Use statements. Focus on your needs rather than blaming others. For example, "I need some quiet time after work," instead of "You're always bothering me." 3. Stick to your boundaries. Once you set a limit, uphold it. Consistency shows others you're serious about protecting your space. Lao Tzu offers another layer of wisdom. He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble. Knowing and respecting your limits is how you prevent unnecessary stress and frustration. Remember, boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're bridges to healthier, more balanced relationships. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or taken for granted, pause and ask yourself, have I communicated my needs? Am I honoring my boundaries? When you set limits, you free yourself from unnecessary obligations and reclaim your energy for what truly matters. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's feelings or fixing their problems. Your primary responsibility is to yourself, your peace, your time, and your emotional well-being. Protect your energy, set your boundaries, and watch how much lighter, clearer, and more in control you begin to feel. Because when you prioritize yourself, you show up as the best version of you for others and yourself. Detach from the opinions of others. Once you've set strong boundaries to protect your time and energy, the next step is learning how to protect your mind. And that means detaching from the opinions of others. Imagine this. You proudly share an idea in a group or post something that matters deeply to you, but instead of encouragement, you're met with criticism, or worse, Silence. That sting of disappointment is real, and if you're not careful, it can spiral into self-doubt. But here's a powerful question to ask yourself in that moment. Why does their opinion carry so much weight? The truth is, the need for approval is deeply wired into us. We all want to be liked. But when you rely on external validation to feel worthy, you give away your emotional freedom. Think of it like chasing shadows. You run and run, but you never really catch what you're looking for. Emotional strength begins the moment you stop letting other people's opinions define your value. Remember, everyone sees the world through their lens, shaped by their past, their insecurities, and their filters. What someone says about you often reveals more about them than about you. When you internalize their judgment, you give them power over your emotions and decisions. So why let someone else write your story? Here's a simple yet powerful truth. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's not tied to compliments or criticism. It's something innate anchored within you. Here's an example. You wear a new outfit you love. You feel great. Then a coworker makes a passive-aggressive remark. That's an interesting choice. Now you're second-guessing yourself. But what if you paused and reminded yourself, their opinion doesn't diminish my joy. Just like that, you reclaim your peace. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It may sound harsh, but it's freeing. Growth often means doing things others don't understand. Seeking approval can hold you back, while embracing your truth, despite the noise, sets you free. Here's how to start detaching from others' opinions. 1. Question their importance. Ask yourself, why does this person's opinion matter to me? What authority do they have over my life? 2. Reaffirm your values. Focus on what truly matters to you, not what others expect. Ground yourself in your principles. 3. Practice letting go. When judgment arises, picture their words like leaves floating down a stream, present, but not permanent. Lao Tzu said, "Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner." That doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It means you filter out what doesn't serve you. Constructive criticism can help you grow, but baseless judgment, that's theirs to carry, not yours. Think of detaching from opinions like wearing a raincoat in a storm. The rain may fall, but it doesn't soak through. So, the next time someone's words shake your confidence, pause and ask, am I living for them or me? Choose to detach, reclaim your peace, and walk your path with quiet confidence because it's yours, and it's far too valuable to be steered by passing opinions. Respond with silence, not anger. Once you've stopped letting the noise of others control your worth, the next step is learning how to respond when that noise turns into provocation. Picture this. You're in a heated argument. Someone says something hurtful, maybe even intentionally cruel, and you feel it immediately. Your heart races, your jaw tightens, the anger builds, and your instinct is to fire back with a sharp remark of your own. But what if, instead of reacting, you said nothing? Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not about avoiding confrontation or appearing weak. It's about choosing calm over chaos. It's about recognizing that not every battle deserves your energy. Silence sends a message all on its own. I won't let your behavior control me. Let's take an example. You're in a meeting. A colleague tries to undermine you in front of others, perhaps out of insecurity or ego. You have two choices. Engage in a back-and-forth exchange or pause, say nothing, and maintain your composure. By staying silent, you deny them the reaction they're seeking. You show true strength, not by overpowering, but by rising above. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best answer to anger is silence." Anger feeds on more anger. When you don't engage, you starve it. Think of silence as a shield. It absorbs the blow without pulling you into the fight. Here's how to start using silence with intention. 1. Pause before reacting. When someone says something provocative, take a breath. Let the emotion pass. 2. Listen without defending. Sometimes people just want to be heard. Let them speak without interrupting or justifying yourself. 3. Speak only when necessary. If you do respond, keep it calm, measured, and purposeful. As a Buddhist saying goes, speak only if it improves upon the silence. Silence doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you give yourself space to respond, not react. It allows you to reflect, reassess, and speak only when your voice can bring clarity or closure. Think about how often we regret the things we say in anger. Silence removes that regret. It gives you time to choose your words or to realize that no words are needed at all. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause and ask, will responding add value, or will it only escalate the situation? When you choose silence, you don't just avoid conflict. You demonstrate strength, you protect your peace, and you stay in control of your own story. Because silence isn't the absence of a response, it's the presence of wisdom. Reframe criticism as a tool for growth. After mastering the strength of silence, you'll discover that how you handle criticism is just as crucial. Because even when you don't respond, others will still have opinions, some helpful, some harsh. The key is learning to receive criticism without letting it diminish your confidence. Imagine you've just shared something important, a presentation at work, a creative idea with friends, or a post online. Then someone immediately shoots it down with blunt, even cutting feedback. What's your first instinct? For most of us, it's defensiveness, maybe even anger. That reaction is normal, but what if instead of reacting, you paused and reframed it? What if instead of seeing criticism as an attack, you viewed it as an opportunity? The truth is, criticism, no matter how it's delivered, can carry value. It can show you blind spots, challenge your assumptions, and help you grow, but only if you're open to it. Let's walk through a scenario. You're preparing for a big presentation, and a colleague points out multiple flaws in your draft. You could think, they're trying to undermine me. Or you could pause and ask, is there truth in what they're saying? How can I use this feedback to get better? By choosing the second path, you transform what feels like an insult into a stepping stone. There's a beautiful metaphor that captures this idea. Criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish growth without destroying roots. Of course, not all criticism is valid. Some comes from envy, ignorance, or malice. Your job is to filter, keep what's constructive, and let go of what's not. Here's how to handle criticism with grace. 1. Pause before reacting. When you hear something critical, take a moment. A deep breath gives your mind space to respond instead of react. 2. Evaluate the source. Who is this coming from? Do they have your best interests at heart? Is their perspective informed or reactive? 3. Find the lesson. Even poorly delivered feedback can offer insight. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Let's make it personal. Imagine a family member criticizes your career path or lifestyle. Instead of snapping back or shutting down, you say, I hear your concerns. I'll think about what you've said. That response shows maturity and keeps the door open without inviting unnecessary conflict. Epictetus offers timeless wisdom here. If someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Instead, say, he obviously doesn't know the rest of my faults, or he would have mentioned them too. It's a humorous way of saying, don't take criticism too personally. Use it as part of your self-improvement journey. The next time someone critiques you, pause and ask, what can I learn? Is this really about me or them? How can I grow from this moment? Lao Tzu reminds us, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Criticism, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a mirror, not to tear you down, but to help you understand yourself better. Growth rarely feels comfortable, but the discomfort of feedback can spark clarity, humility, and long-term resilience. So the next time criticism finds you, don't dodge it, reframe it, use it, because when you do, you turn potential wounds into wisdom, and no one can take that strength away. Master the art of letting go. After learning to reframe criticism as fuel for growth, there's one more lesson that ties everything together: learning to let go. Because no matter how strong, wise, or composed you become, if you keep holding on to resentment, regret, or past pain, it will quietly weigh you down. Picture this. You're holding on to a hot coal, waiting for the right moment to throw it at someone who hurt you. But as you wait, the coal keeps burning your hand. That's what anger, grudges, and resentment do. They hurt you far more than the person who caused the pain. Real strength doesn't lie in holding on. It lies in knowing when to release. Letting go doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean you approve of or excuse the wrongdoing. It means you choose not to let it control your life anymore. You reclaim your peace, your energy, your focus. Think back. Has someone ever unfairly judged you or said something deeply unkind? How long did you spend replaying that moment in your head? How much energy did you waste imagining confrontations, rehearsing comebacks, or fantasizing about justice? Letting go is the antidote to that endless mental loop. It's the act of breaking free, not for them, but for yourself. Here's a real-world example. Imagine a coworker takes credit for your idea. You could spend days stewing over the injustice, letting it cloud your mood and lower your productivity. Or you could let it go. You could remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to one stolen moment of recognition. You could choose peace. And when you do, you preserve your energy for what truly matters: your growth, your future, your potential. Lao Tzu offers profound insight. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Letting go isn't just about releasing anger. It's about letting go of perfectionism, fear of failure, or the illusion of control. It's about accepting life as it is, with all its messiness, and finding freedom in that acceptance. Here's how to begin practicing the art of letting go. 1. Acknowledge your feelings. Don't suppress your emotions. That only makes them stronger. Allow yourself to feel hurt, angry, and disappointed without judgment. 2. Reframe the situation. Ask, what can I learn from this experience? How can this make me stronger? 3. Focus on the present. Letting go is a choice you make, not for the other person, but for yourself. Shift your attention to what's within your control right here and now. Think of it like this. The longer you hold a balloon, the more your arm aches. But once you release it, you feel lighter. That's what it's like when you finally let go. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, do not be disturbed by what is outside your power. Let it go, and you will find peace. Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It means choosing wisely where to invest your emotional energy. When you stop clinging to what you cannot change, you make room for everything you can change. So the next time you feel yourself clinging to anger, pain, or regret, pause and ask, is this worth my peace? What would my life feel like if I let this go? Let that answer guide you toward freedom, because true strength isn't in gripping tightly, it's in releasing, rising, and making room for the peace you truly deserve. There you have it. 10 powerful lessons to help you master your emotions and stay unbothered, no matter what life throws your way. These aren't just concepts. They're practical tools, habits you can build every day to protect your peace, grow your resilience, and take back control of your emotional world. Remember, the goal isn't to suppress your feelings or pretend nothing affects you. The goal is to respond with clarity, strength, and purpose, even in the face of challenge. Emotional mastery isn't about avoiding chaos. It's about staying grounded in the middle of it. So, as you move forward, practice the pause. Set boundaries that protect your peace. Let go of what you can't control. Every time you choose calm over conflict, silence over reaction, growth over pride, you take another step toward becoming the unshakable version of yourself. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who needs more peace in their life. And if you have insights or personal tips for staying unbothered, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thank you for being here. Remember, emotional freedom isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. Keep showing up for yourself, stay mindful, and keep growing stronger. Until next time, take care and stay unbothered.